Alright, hello everybody and welcome on back to an adult version of Minecraft Musings. I'm gonna stop saying adult version because that does sound kind of messed up, but we got a bunch of kiddos running around, we got quite the village going. This isn't the best living conditions for them. It's pretty fancy, pretty fancy, but dangerous. There, I think it's not the best move. Let's make a more permanent fix, but I think reducing the size by one is a good move. There we go. Because that's where I think the villager fell down and then hurt themselves. So now if you fall down, it's not like you're going to hurt yourself. There you go. I mean, that's not, you don't want to childproof in real life, but again, this is Minecraft and look at that. It's so Guido, look at their pants and everything. They got like the acid wash pattern pants, like so cool, man. Maybe these are more like teenagers. Anyways, sorry, I digress, but we'll leave the families to their communal living situation. And they do have, like, I mean, they've got music, they've got, of course, it's just one big room. But pretend it's like a hotel, like style, apartment style, condo style, giant building. Yeah. And we'll continue to build up, but I don't think their pathing really works the farther up you go. Although I could be wrong. Oh, let's test it. Let's so test it. What do we have a bunch of? Let's polish some diorite. What all do we need? If we're gonna replicate this, like we just made another floor of this, do we want to make it the same or different? Oh, we do have this. We're already doing it. Okay, never mind. Sorry, I just like I'll even forget what's going on there because I get so excited about these other things. Then I wrote notes this time. So the two things that I really wanted to chit chat about were replicating systems for other parts of the world. Like just like Minecraft is a simplified version of reality, it's a simulation of how we can successfully. Oh my gosh! No, no, kids, don't do it. I need to make polished diorite. Oh, that's dangerous. It's dangerous. Okay, hold on. 42, The Meaning of Life. Douglas Adams. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And there we go. And there you go. If you jump up onto the thing and then fall, that's your own fault. Like, I'm just kidding. No, we'll still put the glass up and everything, but I didn't realize that. And see, right there. Kids got into it, and we fixed it. Oh my gosh. No, you. Ah! Okay, we have treetop children. Okay. Whoops. We got llamas for the children to pet. There you go. We got a petting zoo. Oh, we could make it a petting zoo, or just like those are our llamas that we bring with us. That we, yeah, feel free to take the llamas. All right, we need. All right, let's put the wood back. We got glass. We need tools, sticks. Put this back. We've got plenty of beds for now, so we don't need any of that. Um, wool. We can keep all the project stuff here, or just take it and do have more dye. Let's go ahead and. Hello. Yeah, there you go. All right, and kind of don't like this here. so I'll move it. Are you gonna be a stonemason? Nice. Okay, yes, because I want to have access to this too. Um, huh. We do have the makings of the first layer of the wall. Wait, what are we doing? This. Oh, so anyways, replicable system. So like, you designate a certain area of each village to have that food production. And then um, you have residential. And just that alone is, quite a bit. Like the people living there will build and maintain those. But then, you gotta have entertainment. And so we have little petting zoos, but not really that. But like, well, we figured that out. So in here we have all of those music blocks. Like that's kind of like, if you were playing The Sims, this would qualify for some entertainment, make them happy. They'd have like a hobby to do some music. This is kind of like a computer. You got a mixing thing. You can make music. What can we make that's like a computer? Everybody's got cell phones. There you go. And then up here we can make. I don't even know. What would look like a good TV? Maybe like I don't know, not item frames necessarily. I don't know. I might have to come back to that. But making it fancy. Well, what was the other thing? There you go. Okay, so Scratch. I was gonna do some brainstorming for making a memory match game, which is one of my kiddos' favorite things to do or favorite games. And like, well, not favorite. Like she really enjoys it, but too much information. TMI. Anyways, um, my kids enjoy memory match games. There you go. We'll leave it at that. And then with Scratch, there's ways that you can do that. And without looking at other people's code, I'm going to try to just program something. And I want to do it, like make a video of it. Just kind of like a let's play type video um, of just the coding process and what to do. But really what we could do ahead of time is just kind of like brainstorm about it and what that would entail. So if you're doing a memory match game, you would need some kind of rectangle or some kind of like shape or object to hide the underlying object. Now, the way that you usually play it is either cards or tiles that you lay face down, and then you flip over a card. Or like in Super Mario Brothers 3, you same thing. You have like cards basically, and you flip over the cards, and it's one of the symbols. So to do one in Scratch, what you would need to do is you need to have like twice as many sprites as items as you want to have, because you need one for the card and one for the. Ooh, actually, you know what? Never mind. That's so silly. That's one way to do it. Sorry. Okay, let's continue to explain that way to do it. So one way to do it would be to have twice as many sprites as you would have spaces on the board, and like sort of spaces on the table, whatever. And for each space, you would be able to flip over. Oh, I need some tools. Um, you'd flip that card over, and you'd see what symbol is on the back. And you could really make it any symbol, it doesn't matter. But I just realized in Scratch what you can do is you can make the sprite. So scratch that, literally. Make one sprite for every spot, and then on click, it changes from a card to whatever it is. So, and that's going to be pretty complicated, and basically what we're going to need to do is build a grid pattern so that the cards can be randomly generated or randomly moved, because then you could shuffle, and then because you could do it like a static one version of the game, which is no fun. Like once you learn where all the things are, then it never changes. So, so already to break this down further, that's two levels of development that we just kind of breezed through. Like the first level would be to build the base up. Like let's just get the base set to work. Don't move around the positions. Let's not worry about that yet. Let's just make it to where you click a sprite, it flips over. Cool. And then I would do it like let's do one for each of these spots. You click a sprite, do it. Cool. And so and I'm pretty sure there's a way to gather the precise locations of each sprite. And for those that don't know Scratch, sprites are what they call the characters. So, but it's also the objects. So if you had like a card or like a rectangle or something, that would be considered a sprite. And like this one scratch thing I did, the Jetpack Adventure, which is basically Flappy Bird. Um, you had a sprite for the character that you're pushing, whatever button, the spacebar probably, to keep the character jumping. One sprite for the barriers, like in Flappy Bird, it's the pipes that look like Super Mario Brothers 3. But anyways, you can do it anything, but you have to create it, and then you have to build it, like draw it or whatever, and then another sprite for the power-ups that you can collect on the screen, and then another sprite. Oh wait, was there? There's power-ups and then there was like time or something. I don't know. But anyways, each one of those was a sprite or an object. And so like I had like a taco food truck or something for the power-up, and you had to collect it. Like the screen scrolled from the right to the left, and you had to avoid the barriers, and they were shock barriers too. So if you collided with them, oh yeah, the pipes. If you collided with them, it was game over too. Anyways, sorry. So that's the basic set. And then you'd want to do a shuffle system where you could have several different unique game boards or game setups. So that's more of a dynamic gameplay kind of feature. Reclaiming some of this dirt. Go ahead and reclaim this too. Oops. It's okay because I kind of want to gather up wheat for the farmers. Oh, and when we destroyed that composter, we freed up that worker to be able to do something else. Or if we kept placing a composter and they kept taking the same job, then we could change what they trade. So we have a bunch of wheat and carrots. We don't have like a lot of beetroots. We don't have any potatoes. So that would be pointless. Uh-oh. We have an intruder. Well, let's see what he has. I mean, once we start getting some I know we have melons on the other side. That's alright. GTA all day. He's gonna trample my crops. Sorry, just gonna explain everything. And look, we have the. I feel like they were pulled down to their deaths. Was it by the dolphins? Hmm. Either way, both llamas were dead. Oh, you know what? The dolphins could have. I see what had happened. The dolphins totally could have pulled them, and then the leads I feel like get dropped where they were originally from. I don't know, or because that's where this guy was, the wandering trader, where I killed him. Where there were the two leads, and then especially now that we put in flooring so you can run between them all. But anyways, so the dolphins probably took the llamas that were barely in the water and tried to take them out to sea. Maybe they are out to sea. Ooh, they might not have drowned necessarily. Also, it's starting to storm up here. Okay. Where's that music? Did my kiddos turn it off again? Nah, music. And it's kind of misleading, the actual music in here. I think I have some in the other base on the other side. If you look at the map, like over where the island is. But we haven't even discovered this island yet, or this whole map. We've just been kind of keeping to ourselves. That's okay. We need tools, and we need to get rid of some of this stuff. Oh, I love the sound of rain. We don't get much here in Colorado. When we do, it's pretty nice. That sounds like some pretty gnarly storming. Actually, wait, how far are we at? Yeah, we're about halfway through. Okay. Sorry, just. Oh, so the memory card game. So already, like, I think that I figured it out. Like, now the dynamic placement that, let's go that far. So to have dynamic placement of the cards, which have, I mean, like I said, you can just have it one version, and then you can make costume two be another version, and when you click the sprite, it goes to costume two, and then you would need to put in a piece of code that, um, Well, okay, so we're getting into more complexity here. So to enforce that, wait, yeah, let's just get rid of all this stuff. Like, jeez. And then let's go to bed. There we go. So, yeah, like see beetroot. I would not want to trade with them because then, oh wait, you gotta get a farmer. Potato, potato, carrot. Wait, now I'm trying to remember the fast. I thought you could just click triangle on this. I think there is a way. I need some more. That's gonna be annoying. Like to try to figure out which one is theirs. Yeah, or just get some potatoes. But until then, we've got some more emeralds. We've got that. Let's go ahead and get rid of some of this other stuff. But no, for more of the memory match game, what you would need to do, or what we would need to do, is for the random generation thing, I think there's a way that you can get the coordinates for each sprite, and once you have that recorded somewhere, then you can randomize them and then assign that coordinate to the sprite. And I believe it's just one coordinate, or it could be like a set of coordinates. Oh wait, we need tools. That's what we're doing. Tools and then harvesting. But basically, like that's the general gist or the general idea of it is like, once you've got the sprites where you've got like, let's just say it's a 4 by 4. There's 16 sprites, 4 rows of four columns with 4 rows, and each one is an individual card. And so that means there's 8 matches or 8 of the sprites that need to be the same, and only 8. Like you can't have like 3 of one sprite and then one of another. You have to have 2 of every sprite. See, now that's reducing it back the other way. So we really need only half the number of unique sprites, but 16 total sprites. There you go. Sticks, axes, rock and stone. I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, it's really storming out there. So, anyways, I'm not too worried about filling up with too many pumpkin stacks because I don't have that many yet. Like if we were to harvest every last pumpkin in here, we're looking at, no more stacks than what I have room in my inventory for. And to prove it, in fact, we'll even do 4 stacks. And then, let's see. But anyways, yeah, the memory match game. So if we can get the locations and store the location somewhere, and then retrieve the location, and then assign a randomized location to another sprite equally for all 16 sprites, every time the green flag is clicked, or something. That's just one way to do it. You could also make a button, like click this button, and then it'll reset the game, or something like that. So it just depends on how you want to do it. The user experience, user interface, the UX, UI sort of end of things. But the basic game, or actually no, that is a good way. And then you would just make it more difficult or increase the difficulty by adding the number of cards. So hold on. So and actually now that I've walked through that kind of like blueprint or the basic like planning or ideas of it, and then going and actually putting pen to paper and doing it in practice with Scratch, which is just a web browser thing. You just need to have a web browser and internet. Like that's it. That's why I love it because like I want to say anyone in the world. I want to test that. Maybe I'll do that when I'm gonna be traveling here at some point. So I might try to do some of that. Anyways. Okay. Anyways. think about anything else that I need to be doing today because it's back to work in the morning, and yeah, I've gotten a lot done though. An emergency root canal, like uh, I brainstormed making a scratch program, and I already started making it, mind you. Like I got two different sprites. I found a card. So spoilers. I mean, I've already started doing part of it, and that's why I was kind of like realizing in the back of my mind, like, oh, I could do it much easier by just making each sprite have two costumes, and the second costume is the card. And so, in that way, you can just toggle the costume, and I know how to do that, rather than trying to like make one. I also know how to make a sprite disappear on a click and then reappear after a certain amount of time, or I don't know. Like that could set a timer off to where, although I know how to do a quiet timer where you can't really see the countdown, but adding a countdown clock might be something good. So these are like room for improvement, like updates, patches, stuff like that, things that you could put out later. So if you're just trying to ship the base game as is, you just got to make the core functionality. Like, are you able to play a game, a very basic game? Like, it doesn't matter how you do it. Like, I mean, as long as you can play a basic game. Now, you could play a game more efficiently and use less memory if you consolidated the sprites and just have this single. I think I'd want to like test that to be sure, like run a test case and then see what the intensity is or the resource usage is. But and eventually, if you see enough stuff, like the easiest thing is like pointers versus actual passing by, or yeah, pass by reference versus pass by value in C++ because it's really important that you make sure to say, oh no, this is the actual object, or oh no, this is just the memory address of the object. Go to this address and find that object, and then go process from there. Um, so one is definitely, I mean, you want to only pass by reference as much as you can because that way you're saving on how many reads and writes you're sending back and forth, and then when the processor just needs it, it'll go and do that. Then every time it goes and does that, rather than writing that whole object again and again and this being repetitive and wasteful, it's just passing an address, a memory address, and then it goes and finds that object. So yeah, well, a very important thing, and I don't know how you do that in Java. Honestly, I think it's done for you. The way that it handles creating objects and storing them and using them. Oh yeah, because I do know that because when I've tried to print what an object is, I get a memory address, and that's exactly why. Is because it's passed by reference, not by value. Now, primitive variables are usually passed by value, and that's fine because they're primitive. They're very simple. They don't have a lot of complexity. They're low bandwidth, being transmitted back and forth or calculated or moved throughout the system or whatever. All of it's important, like how much bandwidth it takes. So, whew. Sorry, now I just want to like take a nap. Jeez. Might just do that. There's a pitter patter of rain going on. It's a good time to take a nap. But I'm gonna finish this video because I'm trying to think of what else we can figure out. So, say we can't keep track of the locations. What's a workaround or an alternative solution? Well, you could do, I keep hearing the Mad Hatter say, switch places. I think that's also a Futurama thing where there's a Mad Hatter bot or alien or something, and there's like, I think it's even in like an insanity ward or mental health ward. Sorry, not insanity, mental health ward. There you go, or mental hospital, um, or behavioral and mental health clinic, whatever you want to call it. Not a loony bin, not a rubber room, not. And that's actually why, I will say this. That's why that one guy is more critical of me being like, traditionally voting Democrat or taking unemployment or wanting student loan forgiveness and blah, 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 like all of those things. Because he is a complete, MAGA Republican and all that. But that's not the reason. It's because I asked him, how was the rubber room when he came back from a mental hospital as a kid. Now, I was a kid. I was a jerk. I'll own up to that. I didn't know much better, but I was actually like half curious, like like how was it? But I was also kind of mocking him, like. But then I didn't realize that that was off limits, and there weren't any adults around to be like, hey, that's not cool. and explain why. Like it was more of just like a, and even if an adult was around, they would probably be like, "Oh, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole." Like, "Ooh, there's some thunder." But anyways, yeah. I completely forgot where I was going with that. No, okay, so like when certain things are off limits. Now, granted, at comedy clubs and comedy shows, if you sign up for it and you know what you're getting into, then that's on you. That's like that's comedy. But if you don't know what you're in for, oh, I see some iron and more. Ooh, nice find. Yeah, it's really coming down out there. We get some pretty gnarly storms in northern Colorado. Like we get hail and like some pretty gnarly winds, thunder, a lot of lightning and tornadoes too. Like if you go out east. And sometimes around Denver, but really not much. I mean, oh, unrelated, XApp, Twitters, and Cannabis, and Tommy Chong and Cheech Marin. Both of them have mugshots, and I just thought that was like, and I reposted both of them. But basically, I even commented on one saying, "Hey, you're always welcome here in Colorado. Like, we need to get some smoke shops legalized. You know, we have public transportation because that is a really big concern. Is, people come here as tourists and they try to partake in the cannabis and now possibly even magic mushrooms and DMT because we have it for clinical use, which that'll actually be good. I mean, if you have a good enough health insurance, which again, like that could be maybe, maybe not. So that's kind of a big stretch. But if you do, then you could come here and do it clinically in a controlled setting, in a safe setting, and in a legal setting. Whereas if you do it in public, it's no longer legal. It's consuming in public. So, and we're being very cautious about that. This is a new law we recently passed, and mostly for PTSD for vets and soldiers, and well, it's sort of the same thing for veterans, but yeah, current and former soldiers. There you go, or veterans. Yeah, no, it's better just said veterans. But anyways, um, I just feel like that implies that they're all kind of like old fogies or something. Anyways, not my intention. I hope they know that. But anyways, say that like 5 times fast. The point is it handles depression, PTSD, addiction, all sorts of things, like addiction to alcohol, cigarettes, and hard drugs. Um, yeah, it really helps fix people's lives, or it's going to potentially. Now, the drawbacks are any lasting effects, residual effects, but I mean, I think we have enough evidence of people throughout history consuming these things and being okay. Now, okay might be relative, like I don't know. It might all be controlled by the mighty mushroom up in Oregon, like the subterranean. I was just watching what was a conspiracy theorist cartoon on the Netflix. It was a Inside Job. There you go. And it was one with the mushrooms, like they all assimilate and they have like the hive mind. And Rick and Morty touches on that too with a hive mind type episode. And like, yeah, it's collective consciousness, enslavement, basically. But it's good for them, but that's because them is now this other thing. And then when they come back too, at least in the Rick and Morty one, well, I don't want to do any spoilers, but yeah, go buy Rick and Morty. Like I'm actually gonna have to do it again because they got me. They got me with the marketing ploy. They had Rick and Morty streaming for like 24 hours straight on Adult Swim, and I wonder if I log in, I might get like that access again. But and I think they have a paid tier. I don't know. So that might actually be good. But by the time you do like a paid tier subscription service, and if you're not like regularly using it, then you've basically bought that material 10 times over, or how many ever times over. Oh, whoops. So you think about it, like DVDs and Blu-rays and all that good stuff used to cost like 20, 30 bucks maybe. Like depending on what well, 20 bucks I think is like the most it's ever been. It might be more, but and then there could be like special editions and stuff like that. But even still, you have it for the life of that device. Like as long as that media lives, you can see that and you can show it to other people. Like you can have people over. You can't put it on display. Like you can't use a projector, which is kind of messed up. But at the same time, I get it. But then at the same time, I don't. And then you get to libraries and just stocking up libraries with a bunch of good DVDs and Blu-rays that people can share and transmit and do whatever they want with. Which I think that even to have it in a library, you have to get permission from the author or the creator, and that causes a lot of issues. And yeah, so anyways, that's my time. I might go take a nap. Ta ta for now. Have a good one if I don't do any more today. Alright, see ya.